Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I admire you for some of you for coming so early and sitting so long. So I hope we do entertain you. And we have Dorothy who came in, which I'm so happy about, our final poet. We lost two of our poets, sadly, due to the plague, the poet's plague that's going around. Marion Blake is laid down and laid low by it, and also Rosalind Bassett. But otherwise, we're all in good form. One thing you may have noticed when you, I should start off by saying this. Usually we say no applause after the poems, but then you sit in silence and watch one person walk away and the next one walk in. So I'm saying please do applaud when somebody has finished, and that way it's kind of music till the next person gets up to the microphone. Sometimes it can take quite a long time. I return to the program. You may have all noticed that the very first poem is "'Tis the Season to be Jolly," and it's read by Anne Weinstein. That's intentional. It's not macabre. It's a celebration of Anne. Yeah. Anne is the reason that we are all here, that I'm here, because without her determination to push me into doing this, and Nancy as well, I wouldn't be here, and you wouldn't be having this. She was a wonderful person, so we'll be celebrating her, watching what she did last Christmas, which was that poem. I spoke to her a few days before she left, and I had wanted her to begin this particular show, do the introduction, and then read the first poem. And she said, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, but you must read my poem. She made me promise that again and again and again. So we are keeping her promise by beginning this show with her poem. You can actually, it'll take me a little while to get it up, but you can probably kill the lights. I'm sorry, this is, yes, you see all kinds of weird things on the screen, I know that. Join the party.
Well, these were hard acts for me to follow. 'Tis the season to be jolly, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la, anything but solitary, ha 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 ha. 'Tis the season to acknowledge, call, write, remember all, Dolly, Holly, Molly, Polly, Wally. Is it not better to give than to receive? Is it not time to get with it? Be in the holiday spirit. Share with those who are still here, the few we still hold very dear, all those far and near. What with the holiday season in the air, nearly here. So much as many of us feel otherwise, take my advice, realize 'tis the season to put on a happy disguise. Dress to the hilt, make like you are young and gay, so happy days will be here again. Smile, 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 and the world will smile with you. Tra-la-la-la-la-la. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. It was an incredible poem, and her opinions about what the holiday spirit is. She was quite amazing. I miss her white head sitting here, gazing up so keenly all the time. We now begin with the regular program, so I welcome Claire Horwood. And remember, you can clap.
We've had many occasions for celebration over the last few weeks, months. So I'm going to read a poem by John O'Donoghue called Our For Celebration. Now is the time to free the heart. Let all intentions and worries stop. Free the joy inside the self. Awaken to the wonder of your life. Open your eyes and see the friends whose hearts recognize your face as kin, whose kindness, watchful and near, encourages you to live everything here. See the gifts the years have given, things your effort could never earn, the health to enjoy who you want to be, and the mind to mirror mystery.
I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea, the sky, and all I ask. Oh, no, that's wrong. I'm not reciting sea fever. I'm reading sun fever. Sun fever is written by our own poet, Liz Reed. Sun fever, and it's spelled S-U-N. Sun fever by Liz Reed. I must go down to the south again, to the sands of the Golden Mile. And all I ask is a flight next week and a seat upon the aisle, and to leave behind this winter's cold and temps that are always minus, and freezing hands and frozen feet, and a constantly aching sinus. I must go down to the south again, to the land where the showers aren't sleet, and ice comes in cubes to tinkle in drinks, and salt is for food, not for streets. All I ask is a week of warmth in the glorious sunshine state, to ski on blue ocean and not on the white stuff I hate. There's a pause here. I will never go down to the south again, not without checking ahead. The week I was there, the only warm place was under the covers in bed. The weather was Arctic. The lows broke all records. Both me and the oranges froze. And I didn't come back with the Florida tan, but a horrible cold in my nose.
Poetry Parlor has me in a muddle. I no longer know if I'm an early bird or a night owl. This poem was written in a fit of exasperation in the middle of the night. Words, 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 they were coming in herds, making such a clamor, enough to make me stammer. So insistent were they that the only way to appease their growl and continuous yowl, it's too chaotic in here. So I, interrupting a sleep that had been quite deep, upon their demand, pen in hand, arranged them in line so they would rhyme. Then, without a thank you, nor even a goodbye, just a deep sigh, They went back to sleep, and so did I. And this one I titled 4 a.m. Christmas Day 2017. It's Christmas Day. I glanced out. It's beautiful today. How low it is, as in below, I do not know. It would be too cold for someone old to open a window, and so I savor the pre-dawn stillness and the beauty through the glass. Everywhere, a deep seamless carpet of white has covered our world overnight. Glistening, pristine, not one foot or tire print to be seen. And through the stately pines, the corner light shines, its melody of red, yellow, and green. As yet, no traffic to be seen. And to the right, below, a multicolored Christmas tree adds its harmony to the show. I'm still, with wonder. There's no movement to be seen, only more gently falling snow in the lamppost's yellow glow.
I'm not going to encourage you to come and stand. Well done. And speak into this. So we'll put your paper here. You can speak into that. So the first poem is called December, and both of these poems were written by Dorothy.
December. The moon-blown sky bends down to frozen streets, and I see my winter tracing on the night snow among the children's footprints, guided by the morning sun. Laughing they came to see and touch my ice-webbed fingers. The wind and I made music, while they stayed and listened to our Yuletide choir, and watched the stained glass window of my sleeping soul.
And now, this one.
Next one is called Cat.
It's very beautiful.
I walk across the windowsill in the soft sun. I watch through the windowsill. Still she does not come. She should be here. I want her here. I'd purr a lot and lick her ear, but she is late. I am a well-fed, happy cat, and I don't pout. But when she's out too late, I swat a potted plant.
Okay, you can sit down. You can come this way or that way. Okay, that's fine. Who is on now? I am here. Okay, good.
I've always loved Margaret Wise Brown's writing, and it was a storybook by her with black and white etchings inside, and I remember how they looked. So here it is, Christmas in the Barn. In a big warm barn in an ancient field, the oxen lowed, the donkeys squealed, the horses stomped, the cattle sighed, and quietly the daylight died in the sunset of the west. And a star rose, brighter than all the stars in the sky. The field mice scampered in the hay, and two people who had lost their way walked into the barn at the end of the day, and they were allowed to sleep in the hay because there was no room in the inn. The little mice rustled in the sweet, dry grass near the lambs and the kine and the ox and the ass. The horses pawed the golden straw. The little donkey cried, "Hee-haw!" And there they were, all safe and warm, all together in that ancient barn. When hail, the first wail of a newborn babe, reached the night, where one great star was shining bright, and shepherds with their sheep are come to watch him sleep. What child is this who is born here, where the oxen stomp and peer? Away in a manger, no crib for his bed, what child is this who lays down his sweet head? In the big warm barn in the ancient field, the little child sleeps and the donkey squeals. The star goes down, yet the wise men stay to see the dawning Christmas day. The child was sleeping in the hay, and there they were, all safe and warm, all together in that ancient barn.
I believe it's me now. I don't have a program. Could you tell me if I'm on next? What? Shepherd's Carol, which actually I have changed. I thought I found something over the last few days, called Ars Poetica by Archibald MacLeish. And it's a lovely poem about poetry and about poems. It's what we all wish we could do, make them more mystical. And this is an extraordinary poem. A poem should be palpable and mute as a globed fruit, dumb as an old medallion under your thumb, silent as the sleeve-worn stone of a casement ledge where the moss has grown. A poem should be wordless as the flight of birds. A poem should be motionless in time as the moon climbs, leaving as the moon releases, twig by twig, the night-entangled trees, leaving as the moon behind the winter leaves, memory by memory, the mind. A poem should be motionless in time as the moon climbs. A poem should be equal to not true, for all the history of grief, an empty doorway, and a maple leaf. For love, the leaning grasses, and two lights above the sea. A poem should not mean, but be. And since a bit of humour won't go amiss, this is called Christmas Decorations, and it's written by the cat. I can vouch for this because it was my cat that wrote it. All over the house, she's putting up cat toys. They dingle and dangle, they glitter and spangle. I reached up a paw to pat one in joy. The yowl and the howl were hers, not mine. And that's when I realized that Christmas isn't for cats. Yeah? Oh, we don't all have the sequence of the poem, so
Are we to read the poems you gave us?
well, you're going to read your one about the door and the window, aren't you?
I can't find it.
Well, there's nothing like showing your underwear, is there?
Oh, there. When we, oh,
Did you find it?
yes.
Good.
Doors, windows, Christmas. When we look out the window and see pretty flowers, it really makes us feel quite gay. But now Christmas is almost upon us. The vista's perhaps not like May. We might see deep snow, and we could feel quite cold, with icicles hanging a glitter. So do close the door very tightly, whilst wishing us all a good fate, and look forward to spring very brightly, even though there's a long time to wait. So, what else am I supposed to do?
Nothing else right now, later on.
Good. I'll go and sit down.
This actually happened to Christina and I one day, I suppose in 2012. We had been actually married 48 years. I lost Krisha 6 months later when her heart gave out, so I take pleasure in writing about the times the good Lord gave us together. A walk in Westmount Park. We like to walk a lot and talk, holding hands in Westmount Park. But a man stopped us as we strolled, and he burst right out, kind of bold. "I see you hold her tight," he parried, "so I just think you can't be married." We didn't stop, and with a quick little shudder, I chirped, "Oh, yes, we are, but not to each other." We like to laugh a lot and walk, holding hands in Westmount Park. Help wanted. Santa needs new reindeer. The first bunch has grown old. Dasher has arthritis. Comet hates the cold. Prancer's sick of staring at Dancer's big behind. Cupid married Blitzen, and Donder lost his mind. Dancer's mad at Vixen for stepping on his toes. Vixen's been thrown out. She laughed at Rudolph's nose. If you are a reindeer, we hope you will apply. There's just one tricky part. You must know how to fly.
Rosalind sadly is sick, so I'm reading this poem for her, and she says about it, it has a ray of optimism, and you'll notice the last line is definitely not in step with our current weather. We've lots of white. Then the poem is called Trees. The trees are silent, massive, old. Their outstretched arms beckon winter's cold. Still they retain their hue of gold, but soon they will be bereft, on hold, till earth's green clothing brings delight. Meanwhile, we watch the birds in flight and wait for winter's cloak of white.
Bonjour, hi. I know you will sympathize with this short, sad mishap which befalls our beloved snowman. And I'm going to read the English translation first, so when you hear the French, you'll find what it means. It's a cold, wintry night. Despite its bite, a large white man scampers about. It's our beloved snowman. His wooden pipe stuck in his mouth, being chased by the freezing cold. As he walks down the road, he sees a light, and feeling reassured, he goes in without knocking. To warm up, he sits on the stove. A minute later, our beloved snowman has disappeared, leaving behind a puddle of water, his wooden pipe, and his old black chapeau. Dans la nuit de l'hiver galope un grand homme blanc. C'est un bonhomme de neige avec une pipe en bois, un grand bonhomme de neige poursuivi par le froid. Il arrive au village, voyant de la lumière, le voilà rassuré. Dans une petite maison, il entre sans frapper, et pour se réchauffer, s'assoit sur un poêle rouge, et d'un coup disparaît, ne laissant que sa pipe au milieu d'une flaque d'eau, et puis son vieux chapeau.
As I said earlier, the poet's plague, I'm sorry, took away Marion Blake from this reading, but I'm going to read the poem that she had written in combination with a few other people. It's called 3 Wise Women. Once upon a time, 3 wise men set off to greet the new king. They wore golden cloaks, jeweled crowns, coats embroidered in turquoise silk. 24 camels carried their household goods, tents, rugs, fine silverware, everything they would require for a comfortable journey. But their maps blew away in a sandstorm, and they would not ask for directions. Once upon a time, 3 wise women set off to greet the new king. They wore sturdy boots, warm caps, and purple mittens. Their old donkey carried a bucket, a broom, and a willow basket. They followed a bright star, asked for directions when they took a wrong turn, and came to the inn at the stable with time to spare. They scrubbed the floor, polished the lamps, hung sweet rosemary from the rafters. Joseph fixed the holes in the roof, built a haymow for the donkey, and boiled water. The wise women rubbed Mary's back with fragrant oil, warmed her feet, gave her sips of cool water, and the baby was born. Mary cradled him in her arms, held Joseph's hand, and they all smiled. The wise women wrapped the baby in a lamb's wool shawl, put him in the willow basket, and tied a silver bell to his wrist. Then the celebrations began. There was room for everyone in the stable. Joseph and Mary and the baby, the angels and the shepherds, the innkeeper and his wife, and 3 wise women and the donkey. The angels baked cakes. The shepherds churned sweet cheese. The innkeeper's wife made chicken soup, her Baba's recipe. And the innkeeper opened a barrel of beer. And then the angels sang, the shepherds drummed, the innkeeper and his wife danced, the donkey joined in, and the baby rang the silver bell.
just to add to that story, this is a poem called What the Donkey Saw by Ursula A. Thorpe. No room in the inn, of course, and not that much in the stable. What with the shepherds, Magi, Mary, Joseph, the heavenly host, not to mention the baby, using our manger as a cot. You couldn't have squeezed another cherubim for love or money. Still, in spite of the overcrowding, I did my best to make them feel wanted. I could see the baby and I would be going places together.
The Poet's Plague is not going to get me. We're back to humour. This is a little wicked. It's called Christmas Pudding. This year, my hubby, such a dear, said he'd look after Christmas cheer. He started early. Why start late? Imbibing cheer at a fearsome rate. That eve at dinner, as church bells rang, and we'd crackers going bang, he carried in the Xmas pudding, him red-faced with Christmas spirit. The pudding, likewise soaked and loaded, flamed so pretty when he lit it. And then they both exploded. So there will be changes come next year, for we've traditions to keep up and fulfill. Of course, my dearest husband won't be here, but the Christmas pudding will. And who comes up now? Claire. It's time for your little ones. Read into the microphone, dear.
Yes.
Try and make it so.
Right. Do I read them both?
Well, you start with this one,
Yes.
and then you read this one.
Right. Thank you. Christmas presents. The cat has opened all our presents. He was extremely quick. He also ate the bows and ribbons and was extremely sick. We told him he should not have done it. He glared with golden eyes and sat and sulked and waited for us to apologize. And the mouse's wish. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, except for the mouse. He was waiting for Santa with a single request. Make me a puppy, it's what I want best. Santa was thrilled. What a wonderful joy you'll bring to this home's very lonely small boy. The mouse looked ashamed. Oh, it's not that. I just felt it was my turn to chase the cat.
Because now, after all the fun and laughter and joking, I get a serious one. You need your imagination for this. Liz wasn't able to tell me very much about the poet. His name's Geoffrey Harrison, and we think he was an American.
Yes, he's American, he lives in New England.
And he wrote one poem called Adirondack Moose. Well, I'm not going to read that. But this is a Christmas story, but it's not very funny. It's just thoughts. nest. It's just called Nest. It wasn't until we got the Christmas tree into the house and up on the stand that our daughter discovered a small bird's nest tucked in amongst its needled branches. Amazing that nest had made it all the way from Nova Scotia on a truck, mashed together with hundreds of other trees without being dislodged or crushed. Now it made the tree feel wilder, a balsam growing in our living room, as though at any moment a bird might flutter through the house and return to the nest. And yet, because we brought the tree indoors, we turned the nest into the first ornament. So we wound the tree with strings of lights, we draped it with strands of red beads, and they added the other ornaments, and then we dropped 2 small bells into the nest, like eggs containing music. And we hung a painted goldfish from the branch above to keep them warm. Now I have something. I have to read Rosalind's.
Do you have the moose head there?
Yes, that's here. Now, we've already told you that Rosalind Bassett couldn't be here today, so I've been asked to do this for her. And this, I think, was what she was going to say before she read the poem. I bring you our last poem, a poem for the new year, a wish and a prayer that I'm sure we would all wish for and pray for. It's called Wishes. If I had but one wish, what would it be? That those in war and hate be set free. Ah, though it will not come while I am here, I pray it comes to those whom I hold dear, bringing forth a peaceful, bright new year. Am I allowed to say something before you close?
Yes, of course you can.
I never had a chance to ask my co-readers.
Come and sit over here.
I didn't have a chance to ask all the other readers to join me in this, but I just discovered this morning about what Liz has done to our room. She made all the trees herself. Those branches, Liz got them. You remember when there was a big wind and the trees all broke down, and she brought herself home a couple of branches, which she painted white, and all the little lights. I just thought it would be nice to give you an extra bit of thanks, from us anyway.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, thank you everyone for your patience. If you wish for one more poem, I can always do you another one, but that's up to you. So if you wish for another poem, it's long, but otherwise you are free for tea. Okay, so I get to do it. I'm going to do it. It's by my favorite poet. I played 2 of his poems during the video afternoon, Billy Collins. And this is called Questions About Angels. And what he's talking about is how many angels dance on the head of a pin, which supposedly was some kind of medieval religious sort of concept, but actually it wasn't. Although at one time they said that 1,000 angels could dance on the tip of a needle, but that's not the head of a pin. So, Questions About Angels by Billy Collins. Of all the questions you might want to ask about angels, the only one you ever hear is how many can dance on the head of a pin. No curiosity about how they pass their eternal time, besides circling the throne chanting in Latin, or delivering a crust of bread to a hermit on earth, or guiding a boy and girl across a rickety wooden bridge. Do they fly through God's body and come out singing? Do they swing like children from the hinges of the spirit world, saying their names backwards and forwards, Do they sit alone in little gardens, changing colours? And if an angel delivered the mail, would he arrive in a blinding rush of wings, or would he just assume the appearance of the regular mailman and whistle up the driveway, reading the postcards? Now, the medieval theologians control the court. The only question you ever hear is about that little dance floor on the head of a pin, where halos are meant to converge and drift invisibly. It is designed to make us think in millions and billions, to make us run out of numbers and collapse into infinity. But perhaps the answer is simply one. One female angel dancing alone in her stocking feet, a small jazz combo working in the background. She sways like a branch in the wind, her beautiful eyes closed, and the tall, thin bassist leans over to glance at his watch, because she has been dancing forever. And now it is very late, even for musicians. And with that, I thank you all so very much indeed for coming. We enjoyed having you. We would always welcome you to the Poetry Parlour, of course, and thank you to all the amazing people who write poems and read them too, and appreciate poetry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liz. I feel very, very fortunate that Liz chose to come and do a volunteer work at the Manoir.
Yes,
Because she look at how her creative ability.
Yeah, I know.
We got to enjoy this for days and days, and it's just so beautiful, and her talent and what she's done with all of you, and showcasing all of your talents. Bravo to all of you readers. You did a wonderful job, all of you. So Poetry Parlour is every other Friday at 2:30.
Yeah.
I get mixed up sometimes with the writing group.
I know, it begins this Friday, actually.
Yeah.
So if you want to come, whether it be to write or to listen, right? Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. So please feel welcome. Feel free to pop in. Again, thank you very much to Liz Reed and her group of poets. Thank you. Also, thank you to our Okay, so as everybody's leaving the room, I just wanted to let those of you know who I took your walkers out, and I'll give them back to you as soon as the room clears a little bit. Don't worry, I'm not selling your walkers. I'll have them right back in a jiffy.
Thank you, everyone.